Have you ever been told that your autistic child, whether they're 5 or 25, can't really learn or understand the world around them? Or maybe you've heard doctors, teachers, or even therapists say, that's just autism, as if every challenge is unchangeable. Parents tell me all the time, I feel like no one really gets my child. People look at their test scores, their behaviors, or the fact that they don't speak, and they assume the worst. What if I told you that so much of what we've been told about autism is actually wrong? And believing those myths not only limits how we see our children, it limits what they can achieve. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 misconceptions about autism, because once you hear the truth, you'll never look at your child the same way again. Hi, I'm Dr. Dana Johnson. I'm an occupational therapist with a PhD in child mental health and development, and I've worked with hundreds of families across the country. I've seen individuals who were written off as low functioning prove everyone wrong, and I've sat with parents who were told to lower your expectations by autism professionals and then watch the joy on their faces when they realize what their child is capable of. I've also seen the damage that happens when parents believe these myths. Their child is stuck in systems that underestimate them. Parents are then left hopeless, and professionals, well, they never dig deeper. That's why I'm so passionate about exposing these 5 myths, because when we know the truth, we stop underestimating our children and start unlocking what they're truly capable of. Okay, so let's get to it. Myth number 1, autistic individuals experience the world the same way that we do. Now, if that were true, they could just stop stimming, or just follow these directions, or just behave. But the autistic sensory world is radically different. The lights are brighter, the sounds are louder, movement is harder, and vision works differently. Their perception of the world is not the same as ours. These differences in perception is one of the reasons why their bodies do things differently than ours. And this is why they can't just sit up or just finish this task. Motor planning, vision, and sensory perception work differently for them. And then there's the infamous theory of mind myth, which is the idea that autistic people can't understand others' feelings. But countless autistic individuals that I've worked with have proven this wrong. They feel deeply, they understand, and they want to connect. The challenge is expressing it in a way that neurotypicals recognize. Or maybe it's because we've failed to learn how to connect with them. Myth number 2 is one that parents often hear from medical professionals. That's just autism. Now, your child hasn't gone to the bathroom in a week? Oh, don't worry, that's just autism. Or your child is having seizures? That's just typical of autism. Or they're sick all the time, not sleeping, or they only eat 3 foods? Well, that's just autism. But here's the reality. None of this is just autism. These are real medical issues, and when we ignore them, we miss the root of the child's struggles. So think about it. If your child hasn't gone to the bathroom in a week and needs daily Miralax, that's not autism. That's gut dysfunction. If your child can't sleep because of pain or inflammation, that's not autism. That's a body in distress. If a neurotypical child had these symptoms, we wouldn't just blow it off and say, it's just their body. No, we would look into it more and consider it a medical issue. Gut imbalance, poor sleep, mitochondrial issues, frequent sickness, when these pile up, they don't just affect health, they affect motor planning, communication, and regulation. Ignoring them means missing the root of many struggles. So here's a question. How many of our children are being left untreated because we've been told that their suffering is simply, it's just autism? Myth number 3, nonverbal means they'll always be nonverbal. Now, this one is very near to my heart and breaks my heart, because many people believe that because an individual is nonverbal, that means that they have an intellectual disability. But here's the truth. Speech is one of the most complex motor skills that we do, second only to moving our eyes. And because autism is a neuromotor disability, speech is going to be exceptional exceptionally difficult for some. Nonverbal actually means without words. But as I've come to learn, those who use alternative methods of communication have many words, but they haven't practiced the motor skills to be able to communicate reliably. So it's not about intelligence, it's about movement and motor planning. If your child struggles with whole body apraxia or motor planning, talking might be really difficult for them. But that doesn't mean that they can't think, learn, or communicate. I mean, right now you're listening to this video, and I'm presuming competence in you that you understand it, you know that I'm speaking English, and hopefully you're learning from it. Understanding and learning doesn't require speech, yet our belief is that those without speech or who are nonverbal can't understand or learn. Many non-speaking individuals, though, are proving the world wrong and have gone on to communicate fluently through typing or spelling or other motor-based approaches. They are sharing their complex thoughts and emotions. Being nonverbal is not the same as being unintelligent. It's simply one way the body struggles to cooperate with the brain. So ask yourself this: what if your child has been capable all along, but just hasn't learned the intentional motor skills and been given the right tools? Myth number 4, behavior is always communication. Now, how many times have you been told that your child is aggressive or defiant, non-compliant, or oppositional? And then the professionals tell you that behavior is communication. Now let's stop and think about this for a minute. Aggression, if somebody's being aggressive, that requires intent. And if your child struggles with whole body apraxia, is that punch, scream, grab, or self-injurious behavior really aggression? Or is it impulsive movement and their body just can't stop? Then we layer on high anxiety, sensory overload, and difficulties with stopping their body or inhibition. And the result is a cycle of movements and behaviors that look purposeful, but are really an impulsive response that when practiced over and over and over again becomes automatic. Now, impulsive behavior is triggered by 2 things: sensory input and emotions. Now, this could be any overload of sensory input and any emotion. So take my client Walker, for example. We were working together and all of a sudden, impulsively, Walker starts to become self-injurious. And it looked like he didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't want to continue to work on the motor skills that we were working on. And in fact, his body went out to the door and wanting to get out of the room. Now, after we were able to calm him down and he was more regulated, then he communicated to us through spelling that he was actually really, really excited because, well, for 2 things. 1, he was going to meet a friend later, and 2, he was excited because he was being successful with these movements. So what I saw on the outside wasn't what Walker was actually feeling. So consider this. What if behavior wasn't always accurate communication? What if it was the body miscommunicating what the brain actually wants to say? Okay, so we've made it. Myth number 5. Autistic individuals are intellectually delayed and can't learn past their test scores. Now, this is the label stamped on so many children at the moment of diagnosis. The assumption comes from IQ or tests of comprehension, school performance, and therapy assessments. I was one of those therapists. But none of these tests measure what's really going on. Autism is not a thinking or intellectual ability problem. It's a moving problem. It's not that the children don't know, it's that they can't always show what they know. Autism is rooted in the neuromotor system, the connection between the brain and the body. When we understand it that way, it's much easier to presume competence. And presuming competence doesn't mean assuming that your child knows everything, because that would be presuming knowledge. And I don't presume knowledge in anyone, but I always presume competence, because it means refusing to limit them before giving them a chance to show what they're actually capable of. So let me ask you, if the test can't measure what's really there, what if we've been underestimating them all along? I've seen many individuals that I've worked with who were written off as hopeless, or they're just going to do vocational work or volunteer, and they've become leaders. They've taught us more about how we can support them and other individuals similar to them. I've seen parents go from utter despair to hope because they realize that their child understands and that they're way more capable of what they once thought. So I'll leave you with this. Autism is not just autism. It's not a ceiling on your child's potential. It's a different brain-body connection. And when we see it clearly, we stop underestimating them and start presuming competence. And that changes everything. And this is what everyone deserves. If this video changed your thinking on someone in your life with autism, hit subscribe and share this video with another parent who needs hope and other professionals who definitely need to dig deeper. And please share a comment about how this video may have changed the way that you see your child. Let's change the conversation about autism together. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video.